I'm going to explain to you a very clever little secret of how any of you with a bit of disposable income can use that income to buy happiness. We're told it's not possible. You've probably seen something like this. This is called the hedonic treadmill. And it's a thing. It's a real thing. There's been a lot of research on this, that you can look at people who win the lottery. You can look at people who are in car crashes, who become quadriplegic. Things that you think will make you who lose a spouse. Actually, losing a spouse after a couple of years tends to make you a little bit happier. But what happens is that there's an initial, oh, I'm very sad, I've lost my arms and my legs, or oh, I'm very happy, I've just won the lottery. But it doesn't last very long. That we all basically have this set level of happiness, and after that initial, I'm sad, I'm happy, we revert back to where we were before, almost invariably. The only real exception, interestingly, is long-term unemployment. That's the only thing which can bring that set level of happiness down. So I am not going to give you any secret for how to increase your set level of happiness. That's not possible, or if it were, then I'd be some kind of spiritual guru, and I'm not a spiritual guru. So you can get happiness, you can get like a quick little happiness boost by spending money on just about anything. You get a new car, you get a new house. There's this slogan, anyone who thinks that money can't buy happiness has never bought a puppy. You can do this, but anyone who has bought a puppy knows that there's a certain amount of unhappiness which comes along for the ride. So I'm not talking about that kind of happiness either, where you get like these quick boosts and then they all wind up going to the vet and stopping you from traveling and doing all of the other things that dogs do. What I'm looking for here is something where you're on your set level of happiness and where you can bring the line up, for a little bit, and then, come back down to your set level of happiness and never go below it necessarily. Just something which will give you a boost. You can spend some money, you can be happier for the period that you're spending the money, and then you come back down and there's upside and there's no downside. Okay? And it's not easy to come up with something like this because the way, oops, let me come back here. I'm pressing the way that this line works is that you get used to stuff. The reason why you're not happier now that you're rich than you were when you were much poorer is because you've become accustomed to all of the sort of luxuries in life, and so you become habituated. So it's not like you can just get more stuff and that's going to make you happy. And especially if you're a collector of stuff. In fact, the weird thing about the psychology of collectors is that the reason they collect, they buy stuff is basically because they're unhappy about not having stuff more than it's the stuff which they do have makes them happy. So, but this brings me to this thing, which is that what you do get with money most of the time is quality. This is a kind of basic principle of capitalism, and of course there are exceptions. But as a general rule, the more money you spend on a certain thing, the more quality you get. So you spend $100,000 on a car, you're going to get a better car than if you get that thing which is on the street, 3 blocks over for $3,000, right? So what I'm going to talk about is one of the exceptions to the rule. And one of the prime exceptions to the rule that there's a positive correlation between price and quality is wine. It turns out, if you do one of these things, that there's no correlation between price and quality at all. Now, you can do this yourself, and I can highly recommend doing this, by the way. Get some friends together, taste some wines blind, see what they taste like, and you will find there's no correlation whatsoever between how good you think the wine is and how expensive it is. And this has been done in studies. There's one study who did 6,000 blind tastings of wine and found a significant, not big, but significant negative correlation between price and quality. The people actually preferred the cheaper wines to the more expensive ones. And even when you're talking about the most sophisticated wine tasters in the world, the judges in wine competitions look at the medals, the wines that they give medals to, There's no correlation, like winning a medal over here makes it no more likely you're going to win a medal over there. And in fact, what you can do is you can take the same bottle of wine, pour it out into 3 different glasses, and enter those 3 quote-unquote different wines into a competition, and those 3 wines are going to come out all over the place in the results. We have no idea what we're talking about or what we're doing when we drink wine. So this is where the mind bomb comes. This is the trick. If you can't buy happiness by spending more money on higher quality, then you can buy happiness by spending more money on lower quality. This is what I'm talking about. When you buy expensive wine, now, we don't drink wine blind. We never drink wine blind. It's a very artificial thing. But when we drink expensive wine, we know what we're drinking. We know how much it costs. Certainly, if we spend the money, we know exactly what we're doing. And study after study shows that when we're drinking wine, which we know is expensive, it tastes better. It really does. It's a genuine, it's a real thing. You can say it's all in the mind, but taste is all in the mind. It doesn't really matter. The important thing is that when you're drinking, like, a first, it doesn't even need to be a first growth Bordeaux. It can just be a little bit more expensive than the wine you normally drink. What you do is you attune yourself to, discovering things in the wine which you might not be thinking about when you're normally drinking. And it's like in a bit of a special occasion, you're with friends, it's a good atmosphere. And what you do, invariably, predictably, like nearly all the time, is you get, you love it. Oh my God, this is delicious wine, it's wonderful, it's brilliant. And spending money on wine is an amazingly predictable and consistent way of getting that little happiness boost. And there's no downside here. You share a bottle of wine with 1 or 2 other people. You don't even get a hangover. There's no downside. And this explains why rich people tend to drink quite a lot of expensive wine, because it's actually the most predictable and consistent way of converting money into happiness that you can get. So if you want to just take away one lesson here, it's go out, go to the wine store, spend a little bit more than you're used to on wine, and you'll be happy. Thank you.